it's time to start. My name is Mitch Bryars, and I'm going to host today's meeting on iOS and the iPhone, iPad. Talk a little bit about the watch. I do have the watch. There it is. Oh, it tends to go off if you don't hold it there. There it is.
You can watch it, I can't watch it.
Yeah, they say you can mirror it, right?
Yes, those are the things.
But I haven't played around with that yet, so we're not going to do that today. I just got it yesterday. It's pretty nifty, and I think it's more like I've read a lot of reviews and articles, and they tend to all say about the same thing, that everybody, it's sort of addictive. It takes anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks to get comfortable with it, depending on how tech savvy you are and how many tutorials and things you've done on it. It can be a little confusing. My business partner has one. She got one on the launch day, so I just call her every morning with my list of questions. But I think one of the things that you read in the reviews is everybody likes the text functioning, and that is really nice. You get a text in your phone's in your pocket or something, you just lift up your watch and it shows you the text, and you can just respond with about 5 or 6 standard responses that you can change on the iPhone to different ones. You can't add new ones, but you can change an existing one. And or you can just hit the microphone and do a Siri response. And you can either send it as a verbal text or a written text. I like this just say written text. So one of the options on the watch is that you can just say, I always want to send a written text. Otherwise, it comes up every time and asks you, do you want to send this as a verbal or a written? The verbal is something new in iOS 8, and I think it's available on iOS 5. Is it available on iOS 5, iPhone 5s? Anybody know? Yes, Ruth?
No, I haven't.
Is it available, do you know, the verbal text?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
I
good.
have a 4S on my phone, yeah.
Okay, good. I've tried it, and sometimes I do it, but most of the times I just have gone back to sending a regular text. The Siri seems to work rather well, and I was surprised. I've used the phone function a couple times, and it was decent. It was a notch down in quality from the phone. It comes over a speaker, but it was convenient. I mean, it was just like, and it was convenient for a real quick call, not a lengthy call, but like, I'm sort of busy right now. Is it something quick? And somebody asks you a question, yeah, let me just call you back in a half an hour, which you could just do with a text. I've used that a couple times, but it's not something I think I'd be making phone calls from all the time. There was one thing that I was disappointed about, and that is I do exercise regularly, and all my apps that I use for exercise have an automatic pause feature built in that you can turn on. So if you're out for a walk, you can just set it up that, hey, if I stop moving, pause the recording of this exercise session. Or if I'm riding my bike, same thing. If I get below a couple miles an hour, just stop recording the activity. So once you come to a stop sign or something, it's not recording that you're just
I
sitting.
think bikers stopped at stop signs.
Yes, some of them do. Anyhow, that feature is apparently missing. So, you know, we're out riding on, the first time I used it was yesterday, and we're out on about a 28-mile run, and we're going through Port Royal, and there's 3 or 4 places to get this time of year that will stop and drink some water. And every time I stopped, I was pulling the watch up and hitting pause. I didn't like that. And I was surprised that they didn't have that automatic pause built into the software. But that is a software issue, and so I would assume that it's something that will come in the future. I read one article, I don't think I sent it to the group. There's been a lot of water tests. It's supposed to be water resistant. You can take a shower with it. But there have been people who have dumped it in a bucket of water and left it in there for 20 minutes and pulled it out and it worked fine. They had one guy in a swimming pool doing laps. That was the last article I saw, and it seemed to be fine. But it says that it's not waterproof. So, I mean, I don't plan on doing that on a regular basis, but apparently it's a lot more waterproof than a phone. If you drop it in a bucket of water and pull it out, it's going to be fine. You drop your phone in a bucket of water and pull it out, you're going to have a big problem. But it does take a little time to get used to, but I like it. And my wife was saying today, she was, you know, that thing does all kinds of things. And I said, yeah. I said, it does. I said, it even records when you're wandering the bathroom. No. I said, yeah. I said, when you're in the bathroom, you just lift it up and you either enter a 1 or a 2. Anyhow, that's not it.
Sure, she appreciate that.
Yeah. And I said, and you know what? It's got a pill counter on it. It doesn't, but I'm sure somebody will come up with that. Yeah.
Does it work while it's charging? Your functions work?
I haven't tried that. I'm sure that they would. I mean, but it would be awkward because the charger just is it's about as big as a nickel, and it just goes onto the back and charges it. And
I have a specific reason.
what?
I'm thinking of using it as a light alert,
Yes, life alert.
which if it's charging on the night table, would work still.
Well, it would work as soon as you took it off the charger, because chances are you're not going to have it on the charger when you're down to 0 power left. So if you had it on the charger for 15 minutes and all of a sudden you needed it and grabbed it, it would work. I don't know if that helps you. Now, one of the things, I'm glad you brought up the charging, because
What was his original question?
his question was, does it work if it's on the charger? So if it's on the charger, I think it would work, but you'd have to grab it and keep it on the charger. I'll test that out. But I think in most cases, at the end of the day, and you throw it on the charger, if it's on there for just 15 minutes, you'll get an adequate amount of charge that if you grabbed it and be able to do something.
Second question on that is there an app that you know that would have that function?
Life alert?
Not necessarily
Not that I know of.
light alert,
Yeah.
but the function.
Yeah, not that I know of. As long as your phone is within your Wi-Fi area in your home, you could pick it up and make a phone call. You could pick it up and do a text message. You could, it doesn't have a dialer on there, so I don't know. I guess if you had, you can pull up your contacts, I believe. So if you had 911 in there, you could just hit 911 and it would dial. But I haven't played with that part of it too much. But one thing I will tell you that the battery life is somewhat disappointing. Now, on a normal day, they're saying 18 hours. I'll get it in a second. and they're saying 18 hours, but like when I was on this bike ride yesterday, and we were going, I was going with a guy that goes pretty slow, so I took my mountain bike, which is hard to pedal, or harder to pedal, so I could get more of a cardio with him. So we were out 27 miles, we were out for like 2 hours and 15, 20 minutes, which was much longer than I normally am for that kind of a ride. And I got home and I checked the battery usage and I was down to 45%. And I just took it off, put it on the charger for an hour and was back up to 100% and used it the rest of the day with no problem. But when it really uses the battery up is when you're doing an exercise activity, and it's, you know, and for most people doing an exercise activity, they're going to take a walk for a half an hour, be on a treadmill for a half an hour, or maybe do something for an hour, which is what I usually do. But if I'm biking, a lot of times I'm out there for a couple hours, and it really eats it up. Yes, you had a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to the life alert issue.
Yes.
While I know nothing about the watch, I can say that Philips life alert, I forget what it's called, but it's by Philips. It has a fall alert, so that, let's say you can't even touch something, your watch or anything. This will record the impact that will register with the company.
Is that a service or is that a product?
It's a product and a service. You wear it around your neck or somewhere. And so if you faint, or if you have a stroke where you can't reach, you know, they know you're in
And
trouble.
I was thinking of using the iPhone and iWatch instead of something else.
It would not cover that.
Right.
And that's a good
Yeah.
point. I sort of got carried away. I missed the announcements. Is there anybody here new for the first time? Okay, a few new ones, okay. So, welcome, glad to have you. And let me go over some of the items that we normally announce. We meet here about 95% of the time at 11:30 till 12:45 every Wednesday, except the months of July and August. Used to be just the month of August we shut down, but the board made an executive decision, a unanimous one, that we would shut down this year in July as well, correct? So every Wednesday here, and I say 95% of the time because there are occasions when the library, there's a conflict in the calendar, and we'll have to start a meeting at 12:30 or 1 o'clock. If you're a member, you get an email with the meeting announcements, and it would clearly state that. If you're not a member, you're welcome to attend anytime you would like to attend, but if you show up here at 11:30 on one of those days when we're meeting at 1, you'll know what happened. The other thing we have is that during the months of maybe November, December, January, February, March. Got it?
Okay, got that?
Yeah, third Monday at 5 o'clock in this room, and we a lot of times have a guest speaker, and that meeting usually goes from 5 o'clock to 6:30, 4 to 7. Again, that's open to the public. Sometimes it's not the third, but again, if you're a member, you get those announcements. The other thing that the membership is $20 a year, and have we announced that change yet? No? Okay. I can just say that will be going up slightly in the next few months. I don't know exactly when. But it's $20 for a single, $25 for a family of 2. And then, if you're a member, you can sign up for our discussion group, which is a board where you can, that's run off of Yahoo, and it's a private group, and you post your questions there. And if you have a question, such as some of the ones that people have asked here today, you post it and you will get responses. Also, being a member, you would get emails announcing the meetings and what's going to be covered at the meetings. Speaking of that, the way the meetings generally go is the second Meeting the second Wednesday of the month is usually the iOS, iPad, iPhone, now the watch sort of meeting. I generally am here for those. And then Jerry, our club president, does the meeting on the first Wednesday and the third and fourth, third. And those are open questions. He used to do them just on Mac computer, but he takes questions on everything now. And he doesn't answer them all if he gets into the iPad or some of those areas where he's really the expert on the computer, and he leans on us sometimes for the iPad and the iPhone, but we will get your questions answered. And then on the fourth meeting, Wednesday of the month, George, our vice president, George, wake up, there he is, George Rubin, does those, and he does them on iLife, so iPhoto and iMovies and those type of things. He is also our resident expert in getting podcast presentations from literally all over the world by experts that'll podcast in, and we'll show those live. He is also the one who has taken on, thanks to many members, I'm sure, the responsibility of recording our meetings every week. We thank you for that, George. And then, so today's meeting is being recorded, and he will edit it. He usually edits me out. I don't know why, but and then it'll be posted in 2 or 3 days. And if you're a member, you would have access to that. So if you missed a meeting and it was something important that you wanted to see, you would have access to those meetings, and they're on YouTube. Then I'll mention that we do courses at Hodges University for members only. We do about 10 courses a year. They start in January and they end in sometime in March. We did 2 on Yosemite this year. Jerry did 2. I did 2 on iOS. Marilyn's not here today, did a couple, 1 or 2 on apps that are not standard apps in the on the phone, or they were third-party apps. I think that was very well received. And who did the one on?
George did one on photos.
George did one on photos.
Scott
did one on pages. So those are limited to 50 per class. They fill up rather quickly. It's $10 per class. Classes go from 1 to 4 o'clock. So if you take a class, some of them are linked, like Jerry's is linked into 2. So it'd be 2 3-hour sessions, 2 Mondays in a row. They're generally on Mondays, and it would be $20 per member. They're not open to the public, only members. Lynda.com is the last thing I was going to mention, because it's up on the screen now. The last big benefit is we have an educational service that we subscribe to. We have 5 memberships. They're available to members on a request basis. You can contact George, and then he will assign you a week. You can contact him this time of year, and he'll send out emails, and he'll say, I have times open after July the 1st. You say, well, I want July the 15th that week, and as an example, and he'll email you back and say, if I put you down for a week, sometimes in the summer it's slow, I'll put you down for a couple weeks. The courses are free. There are thousands of courses on lynda.com. Did I read that they were just bought by someone? LinkedIn. Yeah. LinkedIn has just bought them. And they just came out with a course on the watch. And so I thought that I would, so here's what lynda.com looks like. And if you search that search field right here, if you searched for Apple, you'd come up with 200 or 300 courses. If you search for Apple Watch, you'd come up with 1 course, which is this brand new one, up and running on the iWatch, or on the Apple Watch. And here's the content of that course. It's a shorter one. It's a total of, did it say at the top? 39 minutes, okay.
Yeah, they'll come out with, probably in the next few weeks, one that's like 12 hours long.
Yeah, they will. This is an introductory one. I went through it. It's pretty good. And I'll show one of these just as an example. Let me just go through it and try to remember which one was a real good one. You're gonna watch. We'll do this glances one.
The Apple Watch is designed to give you quick and easy access to some of the apps and tools that you use on a regular basis. One of the ways it accomplishes this is with glances. You can access glances from the main watch screen just by swiping up, and now I'm looking at one of my glances. This first one gives me general controls for the watch, but I can swipe left and right and look through a bunch of other glances. Each of these screens is another glance, and each one of them interacts with a different app or service on my watch. Let me go back to the very first one. Now this one gives me some general controls for the watch, some common things that I might want to turn on or off. I could flip into airplane mode from here. I'm going to turn that back off. I could also enable Do Not Disturb mode, or I could switch it into the mute mode. Let me turn those both off. If you ever lose your phone and you think it might be in the same room with you, you can hit the ping button and it'll play a sound on your phone which will help you find it. Now you're not going to be able to ping your phone if you're in the airplane mode, so make sure you disable airplane mode before you try that. Let me flip over to the next one. This is the glance that controls your music. If you're using the music app on your phone to listen to music, you can control it here. So a few minutes ago I was listening to some music and I paused it, but now I can hit the play button again and I can listen to that music. I'm going to pause so we don't have to hear it. Of course I can switch to the next song by hitting forward, or I can go to the previous song by hitting back. And I can control the volume level right here by hitting the plus or minus buttons. The next one is the heart rate monitor. This is going to take a moment and it's going to measure my heart rate. And it actually tells me the last time it measured my heart rate. It was 74 beats per minute when it checked my heart rate 1 minute ago. But if I wait long enough, it'll show me my current heart rate. There it is, 74 beats per minute. The next one is the battery indicator. Of course, this is where you would go to see how much battery you have left on the watch. If you're running really low on battery power, you can flip over to the power reserve mode. This turns off everything except the clock. So you won't get any notifications, you won't get any feedback, you won't be able to access your apps, you'll only be able to look at the clock. I'm going to cancel this. When your battery gets to a very low percentage, it'll flip into the power reserve mode automatically until you charge the battery again. The next glance is the activity monitor. Now this is not going to work until you set up the activity app on your iPhone. Then we see the glance for the calendar. This will show you your next appointment on your calendar, or if there's an appointment happening currently, it'll show you your current appointment. So it's showing me the appointment that I have happening right now. The next one is the weather, and we're going to talk about this more in a moment, because I am not in Cupertino, California, so this weather does not apply to me. But we're going to come right back to that. The next one is the stock report. Then there's the maps. This shows me my current location on the map. And if I tap on this, it will launch the map app on the watch. So I can scroll around here with my finger, or I can use the digital crown to zoom in or out on that map and see where I'm located. Now I want to go back, so I'm going to click on the digital crown to go back to the clock face, swipe up to go back to glances. And then the last one is the world clock. We'll talk more about this one in a moment as well. But that gives us a look at the glances that we have available. But for some of these, we can make changes on the phone to change what the glances display. Of course, we saw over here in the Activity app, it's not going to display anything until we set up the Activity app on the phone. And the calendar, of course, is going to mirror whatever calendar appointments I have on the calendar on my phone. But I said we would come back to weather. Now, I'm not located in Cupertino, California, so I want to see the weather for my location. But to make that change, I'm going to need to go over to the phone. To change the location for the weather glance, we'll need to go into the Apple Watch app on the phone. I'm going to scroll down into the section with all of the apps listed, and I'll find weather. I'll tap on that. Show in glances is turned on, but I want to change my default city, so I'll tap on that, and it's currently set to Cupertino. I could switch it over to New York, or I could switch it to my current location. Now on my watch, if I open up my glances, you'll see that it switches over to Carpinteria, which is where I'm located. I'm in Carpinteria, California. So now my glances are giving me the accurate weather for my location. Let's flip over to the world clocks. This is a great way to quickly see what time it is in a different location. But having the Cupertino clock doesn't really help me either. So let me change that. Back on the phone, for world clocks, you do not make the adjustment in the Apple Watch app. Instead, you go to the regular clock app on your phone. So I'll tap on that. Right now I have a clock for Cupertino and for New York. I'm going to add a new one by hitting the plus button in the top right. From here you can search for major cities. You're not going to be able to search for every city, so just search for major cities. Remember, you're looking for a specific time zone, so you don't have to get too granular here. So since I want the time for Italy, I'm just going to search for Rome. I can select that, and now Rome is on the list. Next, I'm going to hit the edit button in the top left, and I'm going to move Rome to the top of this list, just by grabbing the handle on the right side. Then I'll hit done. Now Rome is in the #1 position in my world clocks on my phone. So now if I take a look at my watch, and I go to the glances, now the world clock glance is going to display the time for Rome. So some of these glances respond to information in a separate app on the iPhone, but some can be adjusted in the Apple Watch settings app. Glances are intentionally light and simple. They give you quick access to controls or information that you need at a glance, and they're pretty easy to set up. The Apple Watch does a lot, but if there's one function that you could consider to be the primary core feature, it's the watch face. The watch face is the first thing that you see when you activate the watch. You can activate the watch by lifting your arm from a resting position or by just tapping on the screen. Since I'm already looking at the watch face, I'll put it to sleep by covering the entire face with my hand. If you just sit still for a few minutes, the same thing will happen, but covering the screen is a nice shortcut. To activate the watch screen, I could lift my arm, or I could just tap on the screen, and naturally I'm looking at the time. This is the default watch face, but it's very customizable. To change the watch face, we get to see one of the new interface controls introduced with the Apple Watch, something called Force Touch. The watch can detect when you press hard against the screen, which is different from a normal light tap. If you force touch on the watch face, it switches to the configuration mode. Here I can see that I'm using a watch face called Utility. I can swipe left and right and look at some of the other options. If I see one that I like, I can just tap on it. This is now my new watch face, and this is what I'll see whenever I activate the watch. Now that's easy enough, but there's still more. I'm going to force touch again. Now as I swipe through the options, you should notice that most of the watch faces have a customize button. Not all of them have that. The astronomy face does not have a customize option, and neither does the solar watch face, but the rest do. The customization controls for each watch face are not always the same. Let's go back to the utility watch face and look at the customization options there. Take a look at the top of the screen. There are 3 white dots. That tells me that there are 3 different customization options. The first option lets me adjust the detail. All I need to do is roll the digital crown, and I can add or remove details. So now I've removed the minute markers from this watch face. And now I've removed the hour markers. And now I've removed all of the details. And I can roll the crown back in the other direction to bring those details back. Next, I'll swipe over to the next configuration option. This lets me change the color. Now for this watch face, it's just the color of the second hand. But like I said, other faces have different options. Once I choose the color I want, I can force touch or click the digital crown, and I can see how this looks with the new color. So let's swipe over to the third customizing option. This lets me make changes to these things called complications. I can see them all highlighted here. Each one of these extra little bits of information that appear on the watch face are called complications. I can see that there's a complication for the sunset time, the current temperature, the date, and my next appointment. And of course, I can change or remove complications. All I need to do is tap on one of these. I'll select the complication for the sunset time. Then I'll roll the digital crown to flip through the different options. Instead of the sunset time, I want to see one of my world clocks. In the previous movie, we saw how to set the world clock. So now if I roll through these options, I can select my clock for Rome. So now I can easily see what time it is in Italy. I can change any of these complications the same way. Or if I just want one of them gone, I can select it. I'll select the date complication, and I'll roll the digital crown until it's set to off. When you're done with your customize options, you can force touch or click the digital crown. And if this all looks good, just tap the watch face and you're all set. Remember, the options are different depending on which watch face you choose. So if I force touch and swipe over to the extra large watch face, then choose the customize controls, I only have one customize option, an option for the color. If I go over to the motion watch face,
I'm going to stop it there. That actually went into the second video. But the point is that this lynda.com service is just really a valuable benefit to all of our club members. And I know I use it all the time. I'm very fortunate that I am still a consultant with Bank of America Merrill Lynch, and they offer a free subscription to the service to employees. So I'll be in that capacity for 3 years. So I actually get my own free copy, and I use it all the time. Any questions on the watch? Yes.
I saw a lady this week who had one, and she was disappointed in the fact that she was rather tethered to her phone. And I think that's more significant for a lady because they keep their phones in their purse and it's not always in their pocket. How in a non-Euro Wi-Fi environment, how close do you have to be tethered?
I haven't tested that. I think I've read that as long as you're in your Wi-Fi environment, so if my phone's...
30 feet.
Huh?
30 feet.
It's 30 feet? Okay. 30 feet. Is it a Bluetooth then? Okay, it's a Bluetooth. So 30 feet. It does work. I haven't tried this. They say that after it's calibrated, and that is to say that, let's say you're a walker and you record 3 or 4 walks on it, and it knows your stride and everything else. That you can say you're going for a 30-minute walk and it will record the walk. It won't be as accurate, but it'll basically be doing the calculations, without the phone. And then you come home and it syncs to the phone and will record that activity for you. It's obviously not going to make calls. You're not going to be able to receive text or anything like that unless the phone is within 30 feet of you or on you. So yeah, it is tied to the phone, and there's no sense in buying one unless you have the phone. And from what I've read, these things are just, they really miss the demand mark because they cannot supply the market with enough of these. And it's a combination, I think, of supplier issues and the demand. Yes?
The 30 feet, I presume that's without walls.
No, Bluetooth would go through walls, right?
It
Might reduce it somewhat.
reduces it. But, 30 feet would be, I would say, in a field. Okay. And if you're in a real house and you've got walls, you will not get 30 feet.
It's not so much the walls, but it's what's in the walls.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
metal in the walls.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
If you're using this as a navigation app, on a phone when you're using navigation, it seems to eat the battery faster.
Yeah.
Does it do the same thing like a watch? Is it a watch battery that it gets used faster, or is it the phone battery that gets used faster in that case?
I have not tested that to find out. I know when you're doing exercise, it's the watch. And I didn't notice, I mean, I know when I was just using my phone, it was the phone. I didn't check my phone when I got home. I was more focused on the watch, and it was really heating it up pretty good rate. I've had it on now. Let's see, I've had this on for since about 8 o'clock this morning, and I'm at 82% remaining. I haven't done any exercise. I've just been had a couple texts and walking around the house. And at that rate, I can see where the thing would last 18 hours. But as soon as I go out later this afternoon and start doing some exercise, which I hope to do, then I'll probably end up taking it off and throwing it on the charger again. So I think, they're obviously going to have, there'll obviously be a new watch at some point in time, or there'll be software updates, or both. And there'll be, I would imagine, significant improvements in watch 2 and 3 whenever they come in terms of battery life. I think in the next one, the waterproof issue will be, I would think that they'll seal that up. As I'm sure that they would like to be able to advertise this thing, that, hey, you can now use our watch if you're swimming your laps. Yes?
Mitch, I'm just thinking, along with everyone else in here, but I'm thinking it would be, I can see in the future, in medicine, it's going to be fantastic. I mean, in a hospital setting, you put a watch on, you have other devices you're hooked to, but it would probably eliminate a lot of other devices.
Well,
And sending people home. I mean, since I've been through that recently.
right.
You go end up back at the emergency, and I would think this would be a good way to monitor.
Yeah. Actually, Tim Cook in an interview was talking about that. And I think he was on, it was an interview on, a brief interview with Jim Cramer. Jim Cramer had his 10th year anniversary, and I just happened to have it on. I don't always watch Cramer, but I happened to have it on, and Tim Cook called in, and it was a complete surprise. He said, who is this? He said, this is Tim from Cupertino, and it took Cramer a minute to realize it was Tim Cook. But they were talking about the watch, and talking about a little bit about Apple after he congratulated him on his 10 years of having that show. And
Just got married.
And who?
Kramer.
He just got married
Yeah.
again. They were talking about the health benefits. And, they were talking about at some day in the future, it's probably some watches on down the road, that the thing will take your blood pressure, it'll take your sugar count, it'll do all kinds of things that that they're working on technology-wise. I don't know how it's sugar without sticking you, but
Yeah.
I don't know how it's gonna take your blood pressure, but I know right now it takes your heartbeat. I know I don't have to wear these things around my chest when I'm out riding the bike.
I think part of that conversation is also when they delve into that area, they come into, there are a lot of regulation through the FDA and other people relative to what that thing will do. So that's why they're going to go quite slow in that area.
Yeah, that's very true. I know they did do a test. I read in an article, they did a test of the heart monitor function. And they did it against this, I forget the name of the device, but it was a sophisticated medical heart rate tester, and it was right on. Yes.
Well, you know, when I was in the hospital last week, I was either on my iPhone, my iPad, or my computer the entire time I was there. And that I wasn't in some kind of a procedure. And they kept coming into the room and telling me that my heart monitor was not working. And they finally said that we think it relates to your iPad, your iPhone, and your iOS, and whatever. So
Did you tell them, as long as those things are working, I don't care?
I said, I'm sure I'm not the first patient here that had any of this equipment. So I think you got a problem. You got to get this problem out. Because I said, I'll go from one to the other, but I'm not going to do away with all three of them.
Well, I know it used to be, and I think that they've corrected this. Some people here might know. But it used to be, they didn't want your cell phone on in a hospital or in a medical office
No, that's
because
not
it
the
would
case.
interfere with pacemakers. And that's not the case anymore. So I think that there are tremendous things coming. The heart rate thing to me was a major deal, that I can just put this on my wrist and have a record of my heart rate activity. Particularly, when I'm, like I say, I do the biking thing, and I'm out biking, and I want to be in a certain zone, and it's based on my heart rate, and I just lift it up just to see where I'm at, and bang, it's right there.
Well, specifically with my husband, he had a heart pacer, but he was going into atrial fib after an injury. And even going back to the hospital, they weren't catching him until they would go back into the emergency room and they'd say, you're in atrial fib again. And I can see this possibly being something that could catch it, because he doesn't get a warning. But they did end up with a new pacer, a pacemaker.
I'm sure that it's just a matter of time before there's apps that'll pop up and say, hey, you've got an irregular heartbeat going on right now.
Go to the hospital emergency.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of that stuff is coming, because it's going to do a lot. But you are pretty much tied to having the phone with you, but it's very convenient, because you just, I don't know if anybody noticed, but I got a text message and just looked at it a few minutes ago. And it just gives you a quick little summary of the text message, and I didn't respond at all, but I got the text message, and that's what people say in articles. So one guy had it for 3 weeks, and he said, I used to pull out my phone 40 times a day, checking mostly text messages. And he said I was actually in a meeting today, and I had 3 text messages in an hour, and I looked at them, and nobody even knew that I've gotten. So it's like, it's convenient. I don't have to, you don't have to just yank your phone out.
More problems in the education system, though, and your young children, with their watches. And
That'll be
that'll
interesting,
be
yeah,
interesting.
that will.
Questions. When you're in the silent mode, does it vibrate on your wrist when you get a text message?
Yeah, it vibrates.
Okay. Another thing is, I understand that different ones have different scratch resistance, how do you know which one's got a better scratch resistance?
The more you pay. I actually have the watch, which is a stainless steel one, so that's the one up from the aluminum. And I read an article, and when I first read it, I got alarmed and said, oh, this thing scratches pretty easy, and I'm thinking, it's a stainless steel, why would it scratch? Well, polished stainless steel will show very little scratches. And the guy said there's a $5 cure for this, and what you do is just go to Walmart and buy a can of polish. He mentioned the type it was, and but it's basically polish that you polish your hubcaps with. And you just take a little bit of that on a cloth and just go over your watch, and it takes those right off.
How about the face though?
The face won't scratch. It's, the face on this one is a sapphire crystal.
Okay, but not all that, right?
No, on the lower one, it's a different material, but I understand it is very scratch resistant. And the gold I couldn't tell you about because I didn't buy the gold one.
Does when you're taking the pulse rate, the tightness of the watch affect that in any way?
It doesn't seem to. I mean, I have this thing on,
The transducer for that, is it in the watch or in the band?
it's in the back of the watch.
Touching your skin?
Touching your skin, but I don't know if it has to touch it or if it's just the lights that are, there's some lights that go on when it does it. And,
The back of the watch, does it have lights?
yes, it
I
has
thought it
some,
was a light that was having a problem with the tattoo. It is, it's a green
Oh,
light.
yeah.
it's a green light.
On the back of the watch?
Yep.
Yeah. I can hold it. Yeah, you can see the green lights.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Doesn't have to be hard on there. I mean, I don't have it on real
yeah.
tight.
It's probably the same transducer that's in the fingers then? With the
Yeah,
light.
it could be.
Is that what you were doing up in Michigan, getting all the tattoos removed?
I got those removed. Yes, as soon as I saw that article, I went and had them all removed. You know.
I guess you could check that by sliding something between you and the watch.
Oh, it wouldn't, I'm sure it wouldn't work then. You put a piece of paper, I don't even know if you put some scotch tape or something on your wrist and then put it on top of it. I don't know if it would work or not. But yeah, the tattoos is an issue.
Ed,
Yes,
why did you not buy the cheaper one, the $400 one instead of the $600?
Well, long story short, I decided to really treat myself. I had a lot of Apple Store gift cards that I had been accumulating for the last 2 or 3 years, and I used that to pay for it. And I really wanted the sapphire crystal. I have another watch with sapphire crystal that I've banged around, and I never have had one dent, scratch, chip, or anything on it. And I was a little concerned about the weight because it weighs more than the aluminum one. But it feels very comfortable. I'm glad I got it. The other thing is that I wanted the silver finish with the black band. And the aluminum one, at least when they first came out, it comes out with the, it's got the gunmetal with the black band, and I did not like that.
Your friends who have the cheaper one, are they sorry that they bought that instead of yours?
No. And the friends that I have one friend.
Or your friends probably have the gold one.
I have 3 people. I have one friend that has it. It's my partner, and she bought the smaller watch. She has a smaller wrist, like a lot of women do, And she was very glad that she got the 38 millimeter rather than the 42, because the 42 was just going to look too big on her wrist. And she got the white band, and she's very happy with the white band. Doesn't seem to get dirty or anything. The other people I know who have ordered the watch don't have their watch yet. I'd let you try it on, but I know you'd start a marathon.
I got that.
When did they tell you yours is coming?
The end of the month.
End of the month. And mine did come earlier than expected. Mine was supposed to come,
Well, they sent me a note and they told me they had to make a decision to get yours out and mine out. And I said you had a presentation.
yeah. Thank you. It's wonderful. It came about a week earlier than the earliest date they had projected. But their dates now are out to June and July, aren't they, on most watches?
Yeah, 10 calls.
Yeah. So, anything else on the watch? Okay, I've got a couple, we're going to change gears here and see if I can't get on to the mirroring. Actually, I just remembered that,
Got to bring your reflectors up as on the laptop.
nope, there it is. I just remembered that you guys wanted me to wear a mic. Somebody suggested that in the last meeting, so we don't need that today? Okay, good. So we had one question. I always enjoy, I usually put it in the announcements, enjoy getting questions ahead of time because it allows me to research the question if I don't have the answer. But Jerry had asked about Safari and how to pull up the web pages on other computers from an iDevice. And so I want to demonstrate that. So to do that, I need to get my trusty pointer out so I can show you on the screen. Okay, so we're going to go to Safari right here. I happen to have it down here. And this is, let's go to Apple. Okay, so this is actually some watch stuff I was going over last night, but it's like what are on my other devices. And where do you get that? Thinking here. No, it's not coming up as the way I thought. So I might need some help.
To the top right.
Yes, right here. They sort of camouflage it. Right here, you pull that up, and then this comes up and it shows all the pages that I have open at a glance on this iPad. But then down here, you'll notice it's got my iPhone 6. Okay, so here's my iPhone right here. And that's all it has because my other, it's got my my MacBook Air. My other computer is not showing right now because it's off. So,
Does that mean your computer was on, you could see what your...
yeah, so let's say I'm here and I remembered that I was doing something on my iPhone 6 and I wanted to bring that up So I would go to how oatmeal can lower your cholesterol. I want to see that. So I just hit on it and it'll bring it right up on this iPad. Okay?
That's on your phone.
No. Oh, it was on my phone. It's still on my phone, but now it's also on my iPad. So now if I go up to here, okay, you'll see it. It's right here, okay? And here's my phone. And if I go down, it's
Right there.
it's right there on my phone. Now, here's the interesting thing. I can go here and I can say, okay, I saw that, I'm going to shut that down. Now it's gone. I go back up here and it is gone on my iPad, but if I go to my phone, it's still there. Okay? Now, the other thing you ask is how to do it on the phone. And can I mirror this?
Yeah, turn the iPad off.
Turn the iPad off, okay. And we'll see about mirroring this.
Are you on
Yep.
instructor?
I think I might be, yes. We'll see. Ah, beautiful. Now, on the phone, it's a little bit different. So now I go to Safari on the phone, which is right down here again. And I'll go into there. And I go again to this same marker, only it's at the bottom. Okay? So I go to that marker, and these are the pages that are all open on my iPhone.
Good pizza.
Yeah, I understand that's good pizza. So I can close a couple of these, but then I get down to the bottom, and now it has my iPad, or my Air 2, and it has my iPad. And if I go down and want to pull up one of those pages, like I'll pull up this, let's just pull up, Mac officers and directors for our club. And there it is. And I know I don't have to tell you this, but the best looking directors are Kathy and myself. Okay, so you got it?
Yes.
It's easy to forget that one. You notice I stumbled on it. I knew exactly how to do it on here, but I was looking for a little cloud because on the computer there's a cloud in the menu bar, and you hit the cloud in the menu bar, and it does the same thing. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And you can do those to Apple TV also?
You can mirror them to Apple TV. Yes. Yeah. If I was at home with my TV, and I would just go right here, and my TV would appear, and I'd mirror.
Well, you do that again. Where did you make the selection?
I'm not going to do it again. Pay attention. Okay. No, you bring up from the bottom here. You swipe up.
Right.
So you swipe up, and then right here.
Show up there.
Or it'll show up right there. If it's not showing up, which it probably isn't on yours because you're not wired into the instructor system, correct?
It's a different network.
It's a different network. So you probably don't see
But
the
you can
map.
see your Apple
But you would
TV.
see your Apple TV at home. And you would just hit it like that, and you hit it, and it'd come right on. So, I know for a while, I had Amazon Prime, They have a lot of nice movies and some TV series that were not available on Netflix, and I had my iPad, and I just hit the Amazon Prime app and just mirrored it on my TV, and I was playing the series. Yes.
On your Apple TV, you only have to turn on Apple TV, is that right? You have to have Apple TV up on the TV,
Yes.
but you don't have to make any further selections.
Fact is if you have your TV on and you're not on the right channel for Apple TV, it won't mirror.
Right.
So, good point. And it's really not, and it's nice to do that with photos too, just mirror photos. Yes, Kathy?
I did that for my grandson's senior concert, graduating from Eastman School of Music, and it was being streamed live over the internet. So in order to take advantage of the better speakers on the television, I mirrored it through my iPad to the TV, to the Apple TV. However, I had it running on my Mac, which was in a different room. There was a 5-minute delay on the mirroring. I could hear the applause for the end of the concert fully 5 minutes before it was over on my mirroring device. And I verified that. I called my son, and afterwards I said, what time did the concert end? And we could pinpoint about what time it ended. And it was literally a 5-minute delay. It was weird. I mean, the quality was excellent, you
Yeah.
know, but
That's strange.
it was it wasn't just 20 seconds or 10 seconds. It was,
Yeah, buffer.
I don't know. I don't know.
Mitch?
Yes,
Jim Corsica.
yes.
I've experienced that sometimes with videos too, Kathy. That time delay where the speaker's mouth will be out of sync with the
No, this
soundtrack.
was in sync. You could see the players playing the instruments. So the sound and the video were synchronized with each other. But the sound of the streaming coming through the Mac, which I was just letting run in a different room, was 5 minutes earlier than what I was looking at through my iPad.
That is hard to believe because if you're doing mirroring, you were using your local Wi-Fi network.
Yeah, but I think I was streaming it twice. In other words, I was streaming to my Mac, and then I set up a separate streaming with
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So you were probably showing the iPad onto your TV.
Yes, I was, for sure, not probably about it.
Okay, so you had two streams coming in.
I had two screens.
That'll have a question.
So
Yes.
maybe the Mac was early.
Mitch, if I want to show a video on my iPad, the only place I can find that video is to do a search for videos. Is there a program that calls, I can't even find a video program anymore. But if I pull up the,
You mean when you're looking for videos on the device?
Yeah, the only way I can do it is to go to search and just select video and then I find them. Is there another way to do that?
Are you talking about your personal videos?
Yeah. Or it was when I
Or a movie.
download a movie,
Yeah,
downloaded it from.
sure. Let me show you that.
We're not seeing it.
There we go. Okay, so there's an app, and it's called Videos.
Where is that?
Right there. It's a standard app that comes with the iPhone and with the iPad. And if you can't find it, just search for it. And when you open that app, it will have any movies that you have downloaded. And this, what's strange is that this one came from Apple, and for some reason the artwork isn't coming through, but I don't care. Does that answer it?
Yes, it does.
Now, if it's personal movies, you have to go into your photo library, and it'll have a little movie camera by the ones that are movies. I could probably show that. Let me just see. I can't show that on here.
Mitch,
Yes.
If you go to albums in the photo, and the videos, all the videos are in one particular album.
I don't think I have any on here, but we'll see. No, I
Should be
don't,
towards the top.
no, I never take videos with this,
You've got panoramas, which is on the right-hand side, which is a category. Also slow motion.
yeah, I would have that on the phone. Let me just switch this real quick, since this seems to be working really good today. And get my phone, because that's where all my videos are. Okay, and go to albums,
Wow.
videos, 309 videos,
What's the memory size of your phone?
128.
Well, already then.
Yeah, it's 128.
How's your battery life?
It's 82 right now. I mean,
Phone.
on the phone. Oh, you mean on the watch?
No, on the phone.
Phone.
On the phone, it's an 82. But it wouldn't, what the videos do is they take up an immense amount of storage. Since I have 128, I never bothered to delete them. But if I go into the settings, and I think it's general, about. See, I still have available 35 gigabytes. And it'll tell, it's loading, it'll take a while to load, but it'll tell me how many videos, how much the video space is eating up, and it's quite a bit. Yes?
What's the longest video you could take with your phone, one duration? Is it limited to 5 minutes or?
I don't think it's limited.
I think it's limited to space.
Limited to space is correct. Limited to space, and I don't think it shuts off. The slow motors are really very nice. Did you say that there was a category that showed slow motion?
Yes.
There is? Let's go back to that.
If you have it.
It's on your phone, and you had one.
Did I?
I saw it.
Slow-mo, 7 of them.
Slow-mo 7, yeah. These were some ones I did. Oh, yeah. Here's, that's pretty long. That's pretty long. This one's short, 15 seconds. Why isn't that coming up?
Lost the connection to.
Yeah, I lost the connection. Nope, it didn't lose the connection. Maybe it doesn't like to do that over airplane. Oh, there it is. Doesn't want to. Doesn't want to play it. That's interesting.
Very slow.
Very slow motion. Let's try a different one.
Maybe it's a slow motion, you should try one of the others.
Well, that's what I was going to do.
Put them on your other remote.
Okay, so here's an 11-second one. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
but it's not playing.
You have to go down and bring back the video thing at the bottom.
Touch it on the computer?
There you go. You got it.
Okay. Where's the cursor?
Off to the left.
Arrow.
Yeah, I understand that, but how do you get to it?
You gotta touch it on your phone.
Ah,
Press the play button on your computer.
there we go. Yeah. Yeah. the slow-mos, that didn't want to play. Let's try that one more time and then we're gonna go. Slow-mo. Try a different slow-mo. Let's try this one. No, it doesn't want to play the slow motion.
I got one more question.
Yeah, that's interesting, no slow-mo. Okay, yes.
Mitch, I have a program that I'd like to get rid of. It's an exercise program that my wife downloaded, and I thought it looked good. But when I ordered it, it came up in Japanese. And every time it comes up, I mean, I've gotten rid of it, but every time they've upgraded it, I've got to go through it again. Can you get rid of it?
You should be able to just delete it there, and then there's a way in iTunes
In iTunes, you should be able to.
you should be able to delete it, uninstall it, but it does not, it's always there. In other words, if you want it.
Yeah.
And you might want to check with your wife to make sure that's just not the language that she speaks, because my wife talks in some kind of language, I don't know what she's saying.
Several languages. But I'll
Cut that out of the video, will you?
don't think any are Japanese.
Now, one other thing I'll throw up real quick
It's
is,
got a Japanese guy training her.
maybe, I don't know whether this is, I gotta find this app. Oh yeah, here it is, it's on here. I found an app yesterday called Clean Suite. And it came free yesterday. I don't know.
Listen to your phone.
On your phone.
No, we're gonna change that.
We're
Oh,
suspicious.
we got both of them. Oh, we got both of them. Can we get both of them up at the same time?
Apparently.
Yes, apparently.
No, you can only do one
Uh-huh.
at a time. You can only do one at a time.
Can we do one at a time?
Yeah, so now you're on your
Except you got
iPad.
both of them. Forget what I said.
We made some improvements to this program, but I will turn this one, I will turn this one off, yeah. It was an update this morning. Okay, so this app right here was free yesterday, and I got it just for fun. It was on Apps Gone Free. And it allows you, I have 925 contacts, but it allows you to go in and see if you have any duplicate contacts. And then you can deal with them. I had one. It was Eckert.
What's
It was Eckert.
What's it called?
It's called Clean Suite. It might be free yet today, I don't know. And where I get these free apps, that's why I've got 250 apps on here, is this Apps Gone Free right here, which is a free download. They'll give you 4 or 5 a day, and then every once in a while there's one that's of interest to me, and I'll download it. So like here's the ones for today. I know we gotta go, Jerry, but so here's the ones for the day. Here's this one. It's rated a 5-star. It's 71 reviews. It's a puzzle game. I'm not too much into games, so I'd skip that one. There's another game. A lot of them are games. There's another game. George, you might like that one. There's another game. And here's one. If they're not at least a 4-star, I don't bother with them.
Mitch,
Here was yesterday's. Now this one, yeah, that was 99 cents. It looks like it's still free. So if you search the App Store for Cleanup Suite, you'll get that app. And I only had one duplicate. It was Eckert, and it allowed me to. I looked at both of them, and it allowed me to merge them.
I'm trying to figure out.
That's better than Contacts says. Contacts says you've got 2 duplicates, but you don't know what they are.
Yes, here it identifies them, and it allows you to then go in and deal with them. I didn't have many duplicates. I knew I didn't, but I knew Eckert was the problem. All right, well, I thank you all for coming. We'll be here next week.